What's up, guys? Welcome to Hermesville. It is a warm day in February. It's almost springtime, and today we're gonna make some biochar. Let's go burn some stuff. Okay, so this is my first time making biochar. Done a little bit of YouTube research. I think I've got the process figured out. But what I've done is I've dug just a little pit down into the ground, somewhat cone-shaped. It's about 3 feet in diameter, maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet deep. I didn't really measure it. I just kind of dug a hole in the ground. I layered in some wood, kind of crisscrossed it, log cabin style, and I'm gonna light it from the top and just let it burn and just kind of see what happens. So the burn has been going for about 20 minutes, and I'm using the pine straw kind of to keep the fire going. If I'm seeing areas on the side that are not lit, different logs that are not lit yet, I'm just throwing some pine straw on it to try to accelerate the fire a little bit. I'll be honest, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just trying to keep the fire going without burning too much ash. And we'll see how it goes. So on some of these cut limbs right there, you can see the center of the wood has not been burned yet. So that should be an indicator that it needs to burn for longer. Obviously we want all of the wood to be black and charred, but you don't want it to be white. So that's what we're aiming for. Okay, some of this stuff here, it was starting to get a little white, so I don't want it to turn to ash, so I sprayed a little bit of water on it, and then it caught back on fire. It went out and then it came back, and I'm seeing a lot of kind of glowing embers right here, so I might spray a little bit more water on it as it's burning, just so it doesn't all go to ash. So I live in the southeastern United States. I'm in zone 8A here in North Carolina. I've got a lot of pine trees in my yard, so I have an abundant supply of pine straw. So I've been throwing that on top as the fire gets a little smaller. My goal is to kind of reignite the fire and to hopefully smother out a little bit of oxygen by doing so. So the fire's still going, but it's getting a lot smaller. A lot of the stuff is burned down. It's looking like I'm getting some good chunks here. So I'm optimistic that this method does work. An issue I'm kind of having, these were some pine branches that recently fell on the ground. They fell off the tree. I think they're still a little too wet, so they are not burning very well. So I don't know if they're going to burn completely down. Alright, so it's still steaming pretty good here. One tip that I've picked up on some of the videos that I've watched is to, when you pour the water and douse it with water, you want to just kind of submerge it almost with water, because a lot of times if you think it's good enough and you kind of leave it alone, it will continue to burn down. So again, it looks out right now, but I'm gonna remove some of these big sticks, rake it around a little bit, and then I'm going to spray it some more. Okay, and as I'm raking it around, it does kind of have that broken glass sound almost. So we're gonna call it done. So I'm hoping you can hear this on the camera, but after you spray the water on it, it kind of has like a little crackling. I don't think it's still burning. I think it's just absorbing that water, filling all the pores. I'm hoping you can hear it because it sounds pretty cool. Alright, so far I've yielded about 5 gallons worth. I might have another 5 gallons in there. What I'm adding to it is basically just some kind of random plant juice, I guess you call it, fermented plant juice, fetid water. I had a bunch of comfrey, some other greens. I just kind of put them in a barrel of water and let them rot down, and it's been sitting there for months. Got some other good stuff in there. And then, so I've soaked all of this biochar in there. I'm gonna leave it for a couple weeks so it can absorb all of those nutrients. And I'm gonna try to fill up another gallon bucket here. Right, so it's 2 weeks later. This biochar has been soaking in some of my comfrey fertilizer for 2 weeks. So I'm going to put it out into the garden. It's still pretty liquidy. I don't really have a good method of crushing it. So I'm just gonna probably put it in a wheelbarrow and then just try to disperse it in the garden. Okay, so I'm gonna add this to some of my rows now. Again, this is my first time messing with biochar, so it's more of an experiment than a how-to. So I'm just going to shovel it on the top here. It's got a lot of liquid still in it. I'm gonna shovel it onto the top here and then just try to rake it in. Alright, so off of this burn, I was only able to get about 10 gallons worth of biochar, so it didn't go quite as far as I thought it would. I did relatively light on this bed, and then I got one more bed over there that I spread it out on. I have a little bit left in the wheelbarrow here, and I think what I'm going to do is to just disperse it between this bed and the other bed. That way I will have 2 beds that have biochar and the rest do not. That'll kind of give me a good control, and to see if there's any benefits or what the benefits are of putting all this biochar in the ground. So I will do some update videos further on. Stay tuned.